one, hey all, it's Monday, and here on the channel that means it is Countdown Day. And today we're going to be looking at the top 10 Transformers who have been represented with both Earth modes and Cybertronian modes. That's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot Counts Down. Hey one, hey all, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, man, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, and while you're at it, light them up, baby. Hit that notification bell, please. It helps me out a ton. It lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, all the groups that I am either a mod or an admin for. All those links are in the description below. While you're at it, check me out all across social media. All those links in the description below. And if you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or, of course, you can hit the join button right here on YouTube and become a channel member. And this is the top 10 Transformers who have been represented with both Cybertronian and Earth modes. This was a very interesting one with a lot of different votes going all across social media. Of course, we're going to kick things off first with the honorable mentions. And the honorable mentions this time around include Sunstreaker. I'm not really sure of that one. Somebody referenced the comics. I don't know what his alt mode is there. But Sunstreaker had a couple of votes. Ultra Magnus. A few people referenced the comics, but most people referenced his Siege Cybertronian mode and his Kingdom Earth mode. So Ultra Magnus got a couple of votes. Laserbeak, I totally get it, going right back to G1. When on Cybertron he had like a visor face thing, but on Earth he looked more like a bird. In fact, both of those versions were recently kind of homaged in the Siege line and in the well, really the Netflix War for Cybertron line. So I get that one as well. Sideswipe's had, you know, himself represented with Earth modes, naturally. Look at the classics, for example. Just look at him in G1. Look at him in the movies. But he's also got like a healthy dose of Cybertronian modes, being the appearance in the video games, the Fall of Cybertron Deluxe offering, for example, and his appearance in Siege, which technically is supposed to be a Cybertronian mode as well. So I get both of that. And Cliffjumper. Cliffjumper in the video games apparently had a Cybertronian mode, and I get it. He's been cast that way, if for nothing else because of his relationship with Bumblebee. He has had like a Fall of Cybertron version that was Cybertronian, both in the Legend scale and the Deluxe scale. He's also had Earth representations, most recently in the Earthrise line. So I get all of those, but none of them made the top 10. None of them made the actual list. Who did? Well, you know what we're going to do? We're going to kick things off first with number 10. And coming in at number 10 is he who normally comes in at number 4 on these countdowns, if you've been paying attention. It's none other than Grimlock. Actually, it's the Dinobots. Kind of a shout out to Swoop and Snarl. Both of them got votes by name, but Grimlock got the most votes for his team, and teams don't count on these. It has to be individual characters. So he kind of represents the Dinobots. And what did everybody refer to? Some referred to the more robotic looking dinosaur modes that they had in Fall of Cybertron, but those were still dinosaur modes. What other people voted for, and what I kind of understand as, yep, that one makes sense, is their Earth modes being D-I-N-O, the dinosaurs that we know, and their Cybertronian modes being the D-Y-N-O, with the like weird kind of Cybertronian tanks and stuff like that. I get it. I get it. What's funny is in G1, these guys were created on Earth and never had Cybertronian modes. But I totally understand. I think it was was it War Within where the D-Y-N-O bots were? I'm not sure. I don't really know the comics. But I do know that they had those body types, and I do know that they were Cybertronian, and this is an Earth mode because it's a dinosaur. That's all I needed, and for that reason, and enough people thought along the same lines, that he and his team took the number 10 slot. Number 9 is another case of a character representing his team. In this case, it is Bluestreak, representing himself, Smokescreen, and Prowl, affectionately known as the Datsun Trio. And what did everybody reference? Same thing, man. Same thing. Everybody said, hey, Earth modes in Earthrise, Cybertronian modes in Siege. I can't argue it. Whether you want to talk Bluestreak or Prowl or Smokescreen, or even Barricade for that matter. Yeah, it's true. However, out of all of those characters, Blue Streak got the most votes, and that's why he comes in at the number 9 slot. Now, when we talk about a body type in a team, I usually take the character that had the most votes to represent that body type in that team. But at number 8, we have a straight up tie with both Ironhide and Ratchet. Exact same number of votes. Some people referred to their Siege body types for Cybertronian and these two for their Earth modes. Other people referred to Transformers Animated and the Cybertronian and Earth modes that the characters had there. Great to see Animated getting a bit of love. Whether you think along the lines of War for Cybertron Trilogy or Animated, it's hard to argue that both of these characters have had representations with Cybertronian modes and Earth modes, at least good enough that they took the number 8 slot. Now, number 7 is a personal favorite and one that goes right back to the very first episode. In fact, the very first scene, pretty much, is this guy, Wheeljack. That's right, Wheeljack. What's funny is in the fiction he's had an Earth mode and a Cybertronian mode, being his race car on Earth, and like that race car's been used a bunch of times, Transformers Prime for example, but his Cybertronian mode, really very minimal, never, to my knowledge, been represented in plastic. Nevertheless, enough people thought right back to the very beginning of G1 and thought of this guy protecting Bumblebee from those Tetrajet Seekers that, guess what? Enough people remembered it that he was able to take the number 7 slot. Now, before we dive into number 6, I just want to note that you may have just heard a little ding as we were changing from the last part of the countdown to this part of the countdown. That was a notification coming in on the phone. Don't worry, you didn't miss anything. It's not a notification here for you guys. Hopefully I got it edited out. If I didn't, then you heard it. If I did, then disregard what I just said, because we're jumping into number 6. And number 6 is, again, going right back to G1, going right back to that representation, at least mostly, because he's actually had a couple of Cybertronian mode offerings. I'm talking about Jazz. Now, if we go right back to that very beginning, that very start of Transformers, Jazz is one of the few characters on Cybertron who had a Cybertronian mode. However, he is also well known as having a Cybertronian mode in the Fall of Cybertron video games. In fact, the Fall of Cybertron video game offering actually was cast in plastic as a deluxe class. I like it. A lot of people don't, but I like it. In fact, when I got back in collecting, that Jazz was one of the first ones I got, and I said, man, looks like Jazz to me in robot mode. This is the RTS. Most recently in Earth mode was in the Studio Series 86 line, which I don't have, unfortunately, as of this recording. I still love the RTS, though. Look, he's had a couple of Cybertronian modes, he's had a couple of Earth modes, and Jazz is a classic enough character that enough people not only like the guy, but remember both of those modes, that he was easily able to take the number 6 slot. Whoa, did I fumble over my words all through number 6. Let's go and jump into the halfway mark. Hopefully this one goes a little bit smoother than number 6 did. That's right, we are at the halfway mark, and at the halfway mark we have a character who is representing a group yet again. Several members of this group had votes, but the character with the most votes represents the group, and in this case it's going to be Starscream representing the Tetrajets. He barely made it though. I thought Skywarp was going to be our representative actually with the way the votes were going, but Starscream put a push on in the end. Whether we're talking about the main trio of this guy, Thundercracker, or Skywarp. Some people also voted for Acid Storm because they said, hey, the Masterpiece was an Earth mode, the Classics was an Earth mode, but the show was a Tetrajet, the Siege is a Tetrajet. Some people voted for Hot Link. I don't know why, doing the same sort of thing. Some people voted for Red Wing because Red Wing has had a character model with an Earth mode as well. Naturally has been represented as a Tetrajet, so I get it. The Tetrajets, everybody knows them. The Earth Jets, everybody knows them. The Seekers are the Seekers, and Starscream leads them. And you know what? They and him were easily able to take enough votes that they took the number 5 slot. And that brings us to the top 4. And number 4 might be the character who has had the most alt modes, different alt modes, of almost anybody. I'm talking about Megatron. Whoa, man, I get the votes for this guy. Look, an Earth mode could be his pistol form. An Earth mode could be a tank form a la Combiner Wars, a la Earthrise. Or it could be a Cybertronian form. Just like the movie Cybertronian plane and Cybertronian tank. Just like the Fall of Cybertron Cybertronian tank. Just like the Siege Cybertronian tank. Or we could go all the way, and a lot of people gave a lot of votes here, to his Transformers animated iteration, which had both Cybertronian modes and Earth modes. In fact, even his head was different in his Cybertronian and Earth modes. So many great versions of Megatron with both the Cybertronian and Earth mode that, you know what, he was bound to appear here, and he took the number 4 slot. As we jump into the top 3 on the countdown this time, this one makes total sense to me. Again, going right back to the very beginning of Transformers, it's Bumblebee. And we all know that Bumblebee had this weird Cybertronian, almost like hover car mode with like wings on the sides, kind of. I think it was kind of most closely immortalized by Moss Toys. In terms of Earth mode, or actually continuing with the Cybertronian mode, even B-127 from the B movie is considered a Cybertronian mode. The FOC version is a Cybertronian mode. Then in terms of Earth mode, we have his VW Bug version from G1 and from the Bumblebee movie. We have his like various Camaro versions. We have a Jeep version that was in Earth mode. So Bumblebee's had a lot of alt modes too, and some of them have been Cybertronian, some of them have been Earth, but they're all quintessentially yellow and Bumblebee, and for that reason he takes the number 3 slot. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that number 2 here was going to be number 1. It is Soundwave. And some people said he has been like a weird Cybertronian tape deck. That's the fan mode for the Fall of Cybertron version. He's also been a Cybertronian like Jeep, I guess, communications vehicle, that again being the video game Fall of Cybertron version. He's been a light post from Cybertron. He's been a spaceship a la the Siege. All of those considered Cybertronian versions. He's been a satellite, arguably either Earth or Cybertronian. He has been, going to the movies, a Mercedes, I think it is, Earth mode. He's been a cassette deck, Earth mode. He's been a drone, one of those like drone plane things, a la Transformers Prime, Earth mode. Yeah, Soundwave's had a ton of modes, some of them Earth, some of them not. You can't argue with it. Either way though, we all know that in the end, when he turns into the robot and he has his little minions, that he's as dangerous as any character has ever been. Doesn't matter the mode, Cybertronian or Earth, Soundwave is always cool and Soundwave is always Soundwave. And he took the number 2 slot. So who is that number 1? Well, number 1 makes sense, but it kind of surprised me, if I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. This is a character who has been represented as a protoform. This is a character who has been represented in the Siege line as a Cybertronian truck, and in the Earthrise / Kingdom line as an Earth truck. I'm talking about Optimus Prime, of course. What a lot of people, though, said, and a lot of people said this, they said, look, his Earth mode is his G1 mode. Although some people said his Earth mode is his movie truck mode. So I get that. But almost without fail, when people voted and were citing a Cybertronian mode, they didn't say the Siege mode. What they referred to was the War for Cybertron, Fall of Cybertron video game mode, and said that armored up, weird looking truck is obviously not of this world. And for that reason, Optimus Prime takes the number 1 slot. And there you go, we've gone from 10 down to 1 once again, and there were a lot of others that had votes. Warpath had votes, Hoist had votes, Grapple. A lot of people have cited the comic books for those. Same with IDW Drift. Perceptor had votes. Reflector had votes. I thought Reflector was going to get more because of the camera mode being Earth, and then thanks to Siege, the ship mode. So I expected more there. Who else had some votes here? Just seeing if there's anybody else who really sort of stands out. The Insecticons, Shrapnel, for example, had some votes. Very interesting the way it went. I think that those who made the list kind of make sense for the most part. I thought Sideswipe was going to be a bit higher than he was. Kind of surprised the Dinobots were as high as what they were. Nevertheless, let me know where your favorites fell, if they made the list or not. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. The new question for the next countdown, it'll go up Wednesday. The voting will run Wednesday to Friday, and then next Monday, we will put up the results of that question. That's the way this goes. Voting is Wednesday to Friday, and then the results go up on Monday. For now, let me know where your favorites fell on this particular list. I appreciate you guys coming by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I do know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, you can use the donate link. Check us out on Patreon. See what we offer to you through Teespring. Or of course, hit the join button right here on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, stick around, have some fun with us, and that somehow, some way, each and every single day, man, you do make a difference. And I look forward, baby, to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either on the live streams on Thursday nights at the stop motion premieres or the old fashioned way, baby, right here inside the videos.